Hey everyone, I'm Michael Hall, joined by Robert Wolf, and you are watching Innovation Coffee, brought to you by ARM, where we give you a deep dive into the latest technology happening in, on, and around ARM technology. Today we're being joined by Larissa Fortuna, a product manager at GitHub, as well as Diego Russo, one of our principal developer engineers here at ARM. We're going to be talking about the new GitHub Action Runners running on ARM64 that were recently announced. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any future updates coming from ARM for Innovation Coffee, ARM TV, or any of our other broadcasts. All right, Robert.
Hey.
We're back
how's it
again.
going? I know, yeah. How's it going?
It's going good, yeah.
Excellent. Today's episode seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. We have some talks about the GitHub Runners coming up, and I think that this was a really big announcement this last week or two, right?
I tell you what, I've been waiting on this for months now. I remember talking to somebody from GitHub back in November last year at KubeCon about these. So yeah, I was really excited to see these being announced, and really excited to have Larissa on to talk about it.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, so it seems we have the right people today to talk with, who are going to give us all sorts of information that we've been seeking for ARM Runners, ARM GitHub Runners. So let's maybe just bring them in now. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's a great idea.
All right. Welcome, Larissa and Diego, to the call. How are you doing today, you two?
Hello. Hi. Glad to be here. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Hello.
Diego, how about yourself?
Good. Thank you.
Good. So we like to start these off with kind of like an origin stories of sorts, getting to know both of you, who you are, what do you do? So maybe we'll start with you, Larissa. Maybe you could tell us what's your origin story? What do you do with GitHub? What do you do at GitHub? Maybe a little bit of your past, where you came from.
Yeah. So I am a product manager here at GitHub. I primarily work on GitHub Actions. I've been here a little over 2 years now at GitHub, and I've been working on Actions the whole time. So I started working on kind of sort of our hosted runners product, and that's kind of where I've been most of the time. But lately, the past year of my life has basically been dedicated to ARM. So I am very excited that this has finally come to fruition, and that ARM is now available, because it's kind of been my bread and butter for the last kind of year here. But prior to GitHub, I was working more in data analytics, those sorts of products. So GitHub was my first time really diving into the DevOps space. So it's been really cool to kind of get to know GitHub and get to know Actions as we've been moving along here.
Very cool. Very cool. And I mean, it sounds like you're involved in something that is exciting for you. So this is pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Definitely. ARM is super exciting for everyone.
Is this your first product release with GitHub?
No, but it's my biggest one.
All right, cool.
On our larger runners release, so that was about a year ago. So I helped on that one, and then we did recently release GPU runners, so that was also me. And then my other release we worked on was larger, more powerful runners for open source, actually. So that was in January. So there's been a few smaller ones, but the ARM one has been the biggest and most exciting one for me.
So this has been an exciting couple of weeks for you then.
Yes, it has been super exciting.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Diego, you're up next. So hopefully you rehearsed.
Yes, I have. Yes. Hello, I'm Diego Russo. I am a principal software engineer at ARM. I've been at ARM for 13 years now, but my background is a software engineer, so I've used GitHub on and off, depends on the project where I was working on at the time. And lately, it's been 1 year that I've been working with the CPython community. So CPython is a big project. They use GitHub a lot. So hence my interest on GitHub Runners, ARM Runners for the CPython project.
So I think we have, Mike, what do you think? We have the two best people here.
I think we've got some excellent people here, and I certainly have plenty of questions for them. So why don't we jump right into it? Larissa, I'm curious to know, from GitHub's perspective, where were you seeing demand coming from for ARM64-based runners that are hosted by GitHub?
Yeah, so I would say the demand really kind of ramped up really big around a year ago, and that's kind of what took us by notice. We've had requests for ARM for years from the open source community, from different customers, but we really saw it kind of ramp up really big around a year ago, and that was across kind of all cohorts. So open source, smaller, medium business, and then to our largest enterprises. We're all kind of asking for ARM at the same time. So I went in there and kind of tried to understand, like, where is this coming from? Why is everyone asking for ARM all of a sudden? Really kind of what it came down to was kind of AWS's big push onto Graviton. And so a lot of our customers were deploying there. So they wanted to be able to build and test on GitHub on ARM architecture, and then also deploy to Graviton where they were running on ARM. So I would say a lot of it kind of stemmed from the AWS Graviton push onto ARM.
Okay.
And sorry, please go ahead, Mike. Okay, I'll go. Yeah, I mean, the stuff that AWS has been doing around, ARM based tech is just amazing. I mean, like, when you go to anything, or when you talk to developers about just kind of what's going on in the cloud infrastructure space, it seems that a lot of it just revolves around some of the pioneering things that AWS has been doing. So, very happy to hear that they're making an impact there. Now, I guess real quick, Mike, if I could just ask my question, because it kind of is slightly related to this. What chips are the GitHub runners currently running on?
Yeah. So you're right. That does tie into this. So right now, what we're running on is the Ampere Ultra chip. So that's what all of our ARM runners are powered by that today. So that's the one that Azure offers. In the future, though, if you all are familiar, Microsoft just kind of went all in on ARM at their Build conference, and they announced that they're coming out with these Cobalt chips, which they have a really big push at Microsoft right now to get Windows on ARM. And so at GitHub, we obviously tie into that as well. So in the future, we probably will be moving to those Cobalt chips once they become available to us.
Cobalt 100, right? Those are the ones?
Cobalt 100, exactly.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, like, I remember when that got announced, it was a pretty big deal. We were all very excited.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a very big thing at Microsoft Build a couple of weeks ago, too.
Yeah, very cool. All right, Mike, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt there.
No worries. That was a great question. Now, I understand that ARM was also involved in this. Like, we were working to provide images for these new runner instances. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So the ARM partnership, ARM and GitHub have been pretty closely partnered for a while now. We've worked with ARM on a few different things, mostly in the embedded space previously. But most recently, when ARM heard that we were coming out with ARM Runners, they were super excited. And they were like, how can we help? And we said, actually, so we at GitHub, we actually, on our hosted runners today, we build our own images on our x64 runners. But going forward, we were kind of asking ourselves, okay, we don't really want to be in the image building business. Who is better at building these images, or who knows more than we do? So naturally, we turned to ARM and we said, hey, you are more familiar with this architecture than we are. Would you be willing to build this image that we could put on our runners? And they said, yes, absolutely. So Jason Andrews and his team stepped in, and they built a Linux image, which came out in our public beta a couple of weeks ago. And then going forward, they're also going to be building a Windows image for us so that we can get Windows on ARM going as well.
Very nice.
That's very cool.
Jason Andrews
is a great team to work with, too.
I was going to say, shout out to Jason Andrews and his team. They're amazing people to work with at ARM, and anyone who gets a chance to work with them, I think that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
it
currently,
was go ahead.
Currently, your Linux images are Ubuntu 22.04, right?
Yes, so we have Ubuntu 22 right now, but actually just this week, Jason got us an Ubuntu 24 image. So we will be having that come out in the next few weeks here. I was just about to say that Jason, yes, is amazing. And we asked him for this image, and maybe like 3 weeks later, he's like, hey, I have this image for you. We're like, wow, that was really fast.
What a guy.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I guess, Diego, let's bring you in, Diego.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your efforts and what you've been doing in terms of this whole collaboration with ARM and GitHub and getting these runners up and running. So maybe walk us through kind of some of the stuff you've been helping out with, or what you've been doing.
So as I was saying, I've been working on the CPython project for a while now. It's been a year, and since the ARM runners came out from the private beta, then I got an interest on them. So, we can enable on the CPython. CPython is a big project. Is one of the biggest language in the world, and of course, it supports ARM as platforms, and but they are using QEMU, so the emulation. So when you are using emulation, you are a little bit kind of restricted in terms of what you can do with the testing, with the building, all these kind of things, and then I say, okay, maybe I can help out to the CPython project to have these ARM runners on that project. We are still progressing, so it's not done yet, but we are very close to enable them for the CPython project during the beta. So hopefully, it will be one of the first open source projects, a big open source project, to have the ARM runners.
Well, that would certainly benefit a whole lot of Python developers.
Yes, and actually, if I can also pitch in a little bit on the question, on one of the first questions where the demand is coming from the ARM runners. So, for instance, last year I was at EuroPython in Prague 2023, and ARM was sponsoring EuroPython. And during the conference, of course, we had lots of interaction with open source developers, with small startups, all these kind of things. Everyone was actually highlight the kind of the when are the ARM runners coming to GitHub? Because that was the last missing bit to complete the whole picture. So at the time, I didn't have an answer, of course, but the answer was okay, go in emulation. But now I'm actually very, very excited. I'm very happy that the ARM runners are available on GitHub, and they will be available also for the open source communities, because these will help tremendously the adoption of the ARM as a platform.
So I kind of want to dive into that a little bit and ask and this is a question for both of you, what specific kind of tasks are being run on these runners, and why would developers want it to be ARM64 instead of x86?
Good question, Michael.
You want to take a crack first?
I can take it. For instance, just in these last days, I've been working on the new JIT for CPython, and we do kind of tests using the emulation. But then there are jobs of the build Python and test Python, run all the tests. But then we need to introduce all sorts of exceptions because we are in an emulated environment. But then what happens? Then there is at least this project has an external build board that where physical machines ARM machines are attached, that we can properly build and test on real hardware, because then it's very, very hard. It's not very safe to test it on just on emulation before shipping or deploying some sort of product. So in this case, I would say that the kind of the jobs that are running in these projects are build and test and validation. So make sure that the software that you write functions as expected.
Very nice. Okay. Larissa, did you want to pick anything up from there? Like anything that Diego may have missed?
Yeah. So, I mean, from my side, I mean, my answer is always going to be, yeah, any job. You can run any job on an ARM runner. Why limit yourself? But I mean, from actual what we're seeing, like, and from customers' use cases, kind of what we see is, yeah, a big one is what Diego was talking about, is like customers that were previously having to use emulation. They're the ones that are getting the best and biggest performance boosts from these ARM runners, because before they were having to do this whole mess of things to compile on ARM or compile on the emulation layer. And now they can just do it directly on the machine. So there's a lot of those. The other one is customers that are, deploying their release assets on ARM. So they're ones that are now want to move their entire CI/CD pipeline onto the ARM architecture as well, and that really benefits them. The other one I've heard from customers is where they are a SaaS company, so they want to be able to test anywhere their users are. So they tell me, oh, my users are using ARM machines, so I need to be able to test that my software works on ARM machines. So that's a big one as well. And then finally, I mean, the one we're trying to kind of build up and kind of empower more is that embedded use case, where there are those embedded developers who are working on ARM machines. So we want to help them be able to test natively within GitHub as well.
That's awesome. So how does this look from a sustainability standpoint in terms of like, developers or companies who are looking to, saving money, cutting power costs? I mean, all of this is like, it's nice, right? But like at the end of the day, you are contributing to some sort of sustainability cause. And so how does this look from a sustainability when migrating workloads over to ARM? What's the sustainability effect?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things at GitHub that is becoming bigger for us is definitely sustainability and our part that we play in that, and how can we help our customers with their sustainability efforts as well. So ARM processors in general are more power efficient and have been shown to have less carbon emissions coming out of them when they're in the data centers. So it's something to the order of 30 to 40% less power consumption. So as part of that move to ARM runners, we're hoping to help promote customer sustainability efforts. And so if they move to ARM, then they know that, hey, my actions workflows now are having less of an impact on the environment. And we're really hoping to help promote that, not only with our current runners, but also with the cobalts in the future, because those have been shown to have even more energy improvements. So we're really just trying to kind of hone in on that and kind of work that down as best we can.
I think that is awesome. Yeah, I mean, when you think about all of the benchmarks and things that come out around the ARM chipsets out there for server centers, you see 30% cost savings, 40% increase in compute, and you're just like, how the heck do they do that? But it's ARM, right? Like that's the answer. It's ARM.
Right.
It's what we do. So that's really cool, Larissa. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So Diego talked about saving time by running it natively. Larissa, you just talked about saving power, the environment, essentially. But you also can save money by using these runners, can't you?
Yes, definitely. So these runners are 37%, I believe, cheaper than our x64 runners. So yeah, there's a lower price point as well. And that just comes down to, so we get our compute from Azure, and Azure is also very invested in promoting ARM right now. So when they can charge a lower price, we can charge a lower price. So yeah, there also gives you a better price to performance ratio since they are priced lower than the other runners as well.
Nice. That's really a win-win-win there, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So many wins. Awesome. Michael, it looks like you still have a couple questions left.
I do. So, I think we've done a really good job of telling our viewers why they should want to do this. So the next question is, who can start using these right now today?
Yes. So right now, the runners are in public beta. And so what that means is that it is available right now to GitHub customers on the team and enterprise cloud plans. So those are primarily the users that can use them now. But as you know, we are GitHub and we are big proponents of the open source community. So we are bringing ARM to open source as well. We have targets for the end of the calendar year to bring ARM for open source as well, and really like we've always been talking about this whole episode, right, is we really just want to enable everyone to build on ARM, to kind of build that up as a platform so that it can enable all these open source projects that were previously blocked on that, where they can also start building and working on ARM.
Nice. And Diego, it sounds like you're going to be at the forefront of that with your CPython work, aren't you?
Yes. Yes, it will be game changing for me. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so, for you and so many others too.
Yes, well, when I say for me, I speak on behalf of the open source community, so let's put it in the way.
So let's walk through the steps. I'm a developer. I want to, I see this video, this really cool video called Innovation Coffee with Larissa Fortuna and Diego Russo, and I want to go experience these GitHub runners now on ARM. What steps would I take?
Yeah. So the way the runners work, you just go in and you set up a runner. So the way you do that is you go into your organization settings, you go to Actions tab, and then you go to Runners, and there's a button that you can click called Create New Runner. And so you just go in there and you select the ARM platform, and then you can start building right away on ARM. I also have a link to documentation I can send out that will walk you through each of those step by step, so you can see exactly where you need to go.
That is excellent. And yes, any links that are mentioned during this call, we will make sure to include in the description below. So take a look. Awesome. Okay, Mike,
I
what do
don't
we have
know
left here?
documentation you were talking about, but I do know that, again, shout out to Jason Andrews and team. They have published a learning path on our learning site, learn.arm.com, that does walk you through how to use those runners right now. So if you're on that, was it Teams and Enterprise plans?
Yes.
You can go check out that learning path right now and get started using it.
Yes, and there's also a great blog I think that we can point people to, right? Get that blog posted up there. This is an excellent blog. This announces the GitHub runners, and you can go check this out if you want any more information that we may have missed during this call.
Yes.
So yeah, awesome. Mike, what else do we got here? Anything else we want to cover before we end this thing?
I've got all of my questions answered, so thank you both for being on and answering those questions. I guess my only other one would be, what's next? Is there anything you can share with us about what you're currently working on? You did mention, opening this up to open source projects later down the road, moving to the new Cobalt 100 processors. Anything else you want to kind of give a teaser about?
Yeah. So one other thing I did forget to mention that I did want to throw in there is that there is actually a program that ARM is sponsoring called Works on ARM, where if you are an open source project and you want funding for between now and the end of the year when GitHub comes out with those runners, you can apply through the Works on ARM project, and they will go through kind of like a vetting process to decide whether or not they'll be able to fund you, but you can apply for that. And there's a link that we can share for that as well.
Yeah, I believe you can just go to worksonarm.com. It'll take you right there. Yeah, worksonarm.com.
Yes, that is it. That is very simple, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the specific one for GitHub, I'm not sure, but if you go to worksonarm.com, there's you'll find it there. Cool. All right. Well, then I think we can probably close this one out, Michael, unless Diego, you have any other last words. Larissa, shameless plug of sorts. Either of you would like to speak up before we give the closing arguments here?
Yeah, so I guess my shameless plug would be for everyone to go try out the new Arm Runners, and feel free to give us feedback in our GitHub community forums, because we're always looking for feedback on the runners if you see something on there that you want. The other shameless plug is just we are GAing our GPU runners soon. So at the end of this month, we're planning to GA our GPU runners. So if you're interested in GPUs, you can also check those out on GitHub also.
Boom. All right,
really
cool
stuff happening there.
Nice. What about you, Diego?
I don't have any shameless plug, but I really, really look forward for the Arm Runners, for the generic availability of the Arm Runners.
Very cool. Nice. All right, there you go. So,
and Robert, my shameless plug is going to be the Discord. Join our public Discord server. We've got thousands of people on there all the time. We've got topical channels dedicated to things like this. So, yeah, come hang out with us. We do office hours every other week as well, so you can join those programs there too.
Well, shoot, I didn't prepare a shameless plug, so I don't know. My shameless plug is to watch another Innovation Coffee as soon as it comes out next time. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe, and like this video. Subscribe to the ARM Software Developer YouTube channel, and next time you see an Innovation Coffee pop up, come say hi to Michael, myself, and our featured guests for some more fun. But yeah, Larissa, Diego, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here. It's very nice that you took the time. We appreciate that. Every minute I know is super valuable. So we appreciate you taking the time with us here and our viewers. Michael, you want to see us off here?
Sure. Yeah. Larissa, congratulations on the launch. This has been really exciting for all of us, I know. And we will see you all on the next episode of Innovation Coffee.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.